Hello, everyone. My name's Craig. Thank you, everyone, for attending the presentation today. We encourage everyone to ask questions in the Q&A section up the top. And the session should go for about half an hour, so hopefully at the end we'll have some time to answer questions. I'll be sharing my screen and we'll be going through all the public bookings admin functions. So I'll just share my screen now. Okay, so you can see we're on the admin portal at the moment. So we'll try to go through quite a lot today, but the first section we'll go into is the booking section, and then we'll be going into fees. So the first thing we're going to do is show people how to just create a basic 18-hole fee. So we'd go to fees, manage fees, and then we'd make sure that when we're looking at public bookings, we've got the public bookings selected and it's blue. We then select the arrow next to 18 holes, and then we would click on add fee. So in the name section, this might be whatever you want the fee to be called. It could be 18 holes midweek as example. And then the description, you can put something in there as well, which will show for public users in the public user interface. A lot of clubs just leave this blank, but if you want a description, you can put something in there as well. A lot of these sections you can leave as they are, but if you are a 36-hole course, you would be able to select whether it was, your north or south course, as example. And all green fees we would leave on course. But if we're creating equipment later on, this is where we would choose electric car. But for this example, we're leaving it on course because we're creating just a standard green fee. Now with the public holiday fees, we would also change this to yes later on, but we'll show you that in a moment as well. So we'd hit save. And then when the next screen comes up, this is where we can actually put in the price of the fee, the days we want the fee to be available, a special price if it was a discounted fee, and the time range of the fee as well. So in this example, as we've called it an 18 holes midweek, we'll deselect Saturday and Sunday. So Monday to Friday are selected, and that means they're green. And then we might put in a price of say $50. And, we might put in that this is available from 7 o'clock till the last time being at say 2 o'clock for an 18-hole round. Now with most public sites, down the bottom here, it would just say public member, but we have got some additional categories here as this is our demo site, but you don't usually need to do anything in this section. You would just make sure that public member is selected there. Also, when you're creating a fee, I would leave the end date open-ended. We only need to put an end date if we're doing a fee variation where we want the price to increase later on, but we'll show you that in another example. So we would just hit save. And then that, when it's all shaded out, that means that fee has now been created. So this is an 18-hole fee, $50, Monday to Friday, they're all green, and it's available from 7 o'clock till 2 o'clock. When we hit back, we can then go back to the main section. And then we'll now show you how to create a 9-hole fee. So if we see the 9-hole section here, we would click the arrow next to 9 holes, hit add fee. Again, the process is just the same. So 9 holes midweek. And again, we would leave it on course because it's a green fee, and we'd hit save. And the process is exactly the same as the 18-hole fee. So it's just selecting the days, Monday to Friday. It might be, $25 for a 9-hole fee. And the start time would be 7 in the morning. And then the end time, we need to make an adjustment for 9-hole fees. So if an 18-hole green fee was only available till 2 o'clock, we might allow 9-hole players to be able to book up till 4 o'clock. So it's always in 24-hour time. So that would mean that this 9-hole fee is available from 7 in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday to Friday, and it would be $25. Okay, so that fee is created. Now, important thing on 9-hole fees and also 18-hole fees is when you're setting up your timesheets, you'll need to enable your rows. So for 9-hole bookings, they'll only show as available for both yourself and public users if you've enabled the row and ticked 9-hole as well. And for 18-hole bookings, the same. So a lot of clubs sometimes call us up and find that 9-hole bookings are not available. And a lot of the time that's because they haven't edited the rows and ticked 9 holes. So always make sure that if you want 9 or 18, that the rows are enabled for 9 and 18 as well. The next fee we'll show you is how to create a public holiday fee. So the process is pretty much the same. We'll click on 18 holes, click on add fee, and we'll call it 18 holes. Now you can call it specific to a day. It might be 18 holes Easter Monday or 18 holes Anzac Day. But I think the easiest way to do it is just to call it a generic name like 18 holes public holiday, and I'll explain the reason for that in a moment. So we've got 18 holes public holiday. Now the difference between this and a normal green fee is when we get down to the bottom here, we have to make sure we choose public holiday as set to yes, because we also have to configure the timesheet to be a public holiday event, which I'll show you in a moment. So we've got 18 holes public holiday, left it on course again. Public holiday is set to yes, which is the only difference. And then the difference in a public holiday fee is the advantage we've got is we don't have to put in any days. We can leave all days selected because this green fee is only going to show up on any timesheet that we've marked as a public holiday event. So we don't have to put in an end date. We can leave it open-ended. You can again put in your start time and end time. So, you know, it might be again available from 7 till 2 o'clock, but we can leave all days selected. It doesn't mean that it's going to show up on every day. It just means that only on public holidays that we mark in the timesheet. And being a public holiday, it might be slightly more expensive. So it might be $65. So when we save it, now the other section that we need to do is when we're setting up timesheets for public holidays, we have to go into the timesheet. So I'll just use today's test timesheet as an example. So we've got the 29th. And what we need to do is go to configure event and then details and opening. And we have to tell this timesheet that it's a public holiday event so that only public holiday green fees will show up for users. So we go down the bottom right here, we've got public holiday event. If we tick that and hit save. And then the way to make sure that the correct green fee is going to show up on this day is if I select fees, view daily fees, you'll see that the public holiday green fee is showing up there. This is a previous one we'd set up before, but we've got the $65 public holiday green fee. So none of the standard green fees would show up as available, only the public holiday one that we've created. Because again, in configure event, details and opening, we've ticked public holiday event. So I'll just deselect that for a moment, sorry. Okay. And then when we deselect it and we go fees, view daily fees, you can now see that all the standard green fees show up as available. Now, the next section we'll do is we'll show you how to create a cart fee. So we'd go to fees again, manage fees, make sure public fees is ticked, and we'd go down to equipment. So we've already got these created. We would click on the arrow next to carts. We've already got some in there, but I'll create a new one. So we'd click on add fee, 18-hole cart. Now, the big difference between creating a cart fee and a green fee is in the category section, we need to go to course and change that to electric car. Everything else we can leave the same. You can see that this new addition has come up here because underneath cart equipment, it's not set underneath 18-hole or 9-hole. So we have to choose whether this is a 9-hole fee or an 18-hole fee. So as it's an 18-hole cart, we'll leave 9-hole set to no. And then we'd hit save. And then again, with the price, you know, a lot of clubs will charge $40 or $45 for their cart. You can leave it on every day if you like, and then we can put in the end time as well. So, you know, if you don't want people to be able to book carts because you don't want them going out too late, you might again put it 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock so that if people are booking online, they won't be able to book a cart after this time. So it's always important to put an end time in your equipment fees as well, just so that no one accidentally books an 18-hole cart at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And we'll hit save there. Okay, and then when the person would like to book that, if you were booking as an administrator, that will now be available to book. So we could click on the booking and go book equipment. And then we'll see that, you know, the fees are now available with the number of carts that we've got available. Okay. The next thing we'll do is show you now. Oh, sorry. Also, if it was a 9-hole fee, if it was a 9-hole cart, we'd have to make sure we enable the rows. So when we highlight the row there, we would go to edit rows. And if we wanted to allow 9-hole carts as well, we would just tick that box. That would enable that row that we've highlighted to not only be available for 9-hole carts, but 9-hole green fee bookings as well. The next thing we'll do is show you how to create a package fee. So we'd go to fees, manage fees. So package fees are great if you want to offer a discount for perhaps 2 players and a cart, where, you know, usually it might be $160 for 2 green fees and a cart, but you want to allow them to get a discount for all those 3 options. So we'd go to public fees. Down the very bottom, we've got packages. Now you can create different fee groups if you want them to show up on the public bookings page all as individuals. But otherwise, you can just have one group that says packages and other fees within it. You can have multiple fees underneath the one fee group. But if you do want different packages showing up on the public bookings page that public users see, then you can create new fee groups. So in this example here, we've got 2 players and a cart package. And if we click on add package, we'll then just call it what we want to call it. So 2 players and a cart. It's going to be an 18-hole option, so I won't set 9-hole to yes. I'll leave that on no. And we'll hit save. And then down here, we've got the option of, you know, choosing the green fees and also the equipment. So first thing we need to do is, rather than putting in, you know, 2 players and putting in a price, we always have to make sure that we add any additional items. So in this option, we're also going to be adding a golf cart. So the course section is already there, but if we want to add a new item, which is going to be the cart, we make sure we hit add item first before we create any of the other areas. And then we can, now we've got the 2 lines. So in the first line, we can use that for green fees. So green fees are always under course. And then if we want this component to be the electric cart, we can click on that, change it to electric cart. And we might put that it's 2 players. So 2 is the number of players for the course component, and 1 is the golf cart component. In these sections here, we're putting in the individual price per item. So if I put in $40 here, that is $40 per green fee. So that's going to add that up to be $80 in this section here. And as we're only leaving the golf cart at 1, we can put in the cart price, which might be $40. So we might put in 35 there just to show that it's a discount. And then we'll leave every day selected so that this package is available on every day. Again, we can put in an end time so that because there is a golf cart there, that no one is able to select it after 2 o'clock. And we'd hit save. Okay, so that's that package created. We've got 2 line items, two course components, and one golf cart. So if we go back into the timesheet and we select public book, now we have to make sure if we're booking a 2-player package that we highlight 2 cells. If we only highlighted 1, the package would not show up. So we highlight 2 cells because we're wanting to book 2 people. We click public book. And then underneath packages, we'll see that we've got the different options we've got. So I believe that might be the one that I created there. So we can tick it. And then we would just put in the name of the people. Now, an important thing is when you're booking in players, A lot of the times when customers will call support, or if we're helping customers, we see a lot of these items are not fully filled out. So if you're wanting to build up your public bookings database, I think it's great to be able to, the first time someone calls, grab their email, grab their phone number, and make sure you tick register player. Because next time that person calls up, if they're a regular player, all you have to do is hit find, and you can type in their surname, or if you hit find, you can type in their phone number, and it'll bring them up if you've already registered them. So while it can take slightly a little bit longer to book them in if you fill out those details the first time, the advantage is that it saves in your database so that you can market to these people and send out promotions at the club. And then the next time that they book in, you can also just find them a lot easier. So rather than using the reserve function, which we do see some clubs use, or just manually typing it in and booking it, we always advise you to tick register player as well if they haven't been registered before. So in this section, I won't be registering because it's just a test. And we'll hit confirm. And then it'll bring up the payment options, and we'll just choose pay on arrival here. So you can see it says 2 players and a cart. And then if we want to see the information about that, we can click on it and go edit booking, go to payment details, and it shows what we've selected, so 2 players and a cart. So we'll delete that. Okay. The next section will show you is how to do fee variations. So these are really important if you're scheduling your green fees to change at a certain time of year. So it might be the start of the financial year, and the green fees might go up from $50 to $60. So rather than having to go into your green fees and edit them on the last day, which we see a lot of clubs doing, you can actually schedule the green fee just to change the price automatically so that you're not having to go in at the end of the day of that last day of the financial year and change the green fee prices. And that can affect reporting as well. So it's good that you just schedule them. So again, we'll go back to fixtures, click on fees, and then manage fees. And then we would go to, I'll just create a fresh green fee so you can see what it would look like rather than editing an existing one. So we'll click on add fee, 18 holes. I'll call this one test so I know the difference. And then we might put in that the price is normally $45 and we would save it. So let's pretend that this fee already exists and, it's $45. There's no end date, but now we've decided that on the 1st of July, we want this green fee to go to $50. So what we would do, we'd go back to the start, we'd click on fees, manage fees, make sure public fees is blue, click on your arrow next to 18 holes, find your green fee that you want to change the price of, click on the edit pencil. Now the first thing we need to do is before we select schedule a new fee variation, we have to select edit because we want to tell the system that we want the end date of this fee, this price, to be on the 30th or 31st of June. So we click edit. Click on the calendar, tell the system that this green fee price is going to end on the 30th of June, and we save it. And that means that this price is going to finish then. Now we're going to create a variation where it's going to go up to $50 on the 1st of July. So we can click schedule a fee variation. We know that this is ending on the 30th of June, so this start date has got to be the day after. So we click on the little calendar icon, go across, choose the 1st of July, the day after. Importantly, we also have to make sure that all the other sections of the fee are exactly the same. So we have to make sure that all the days are selected. There's the same here. If you do have a POS code in your fees, that, if there's a POS code there, you enter the POS code there as well. And then we also have to put in the same start and end time if you had one as well. We don't in this example, but if there was a same start and end time, we have to make sure we do that as well. So everything within this should mirror here apart from the date and the price. So now we're going to tell the system that it's going to be $50. Now we won't put an end date because we haven't decided when we're going to put it up to 55, and we don't want the fee to run out all of a sudden. Sometimes we'll have customers calls up and they'll be wondering why a green fee is not showing in their public fees section. And a lot of the times it's because they've already put an end date. So we don't really see a reason to put an end date unless you've scheduled a fee variation for there to be a new start date and a new price. But if you've got an original fee, it should always be open-ended on the end date. So we'll hit save. Okay. And then the way to see that, if we want to see the prices of green fees, we can go into the timesheet. We can go to fees and we can select view daily fees. And if we make sure that public fees is blue as well, so it's enabled. If we go to 18 holes, you can see that it's showing as 45 test. So if we go back to the timesheet, then we'll go back to fixtures. I'm not sure in this example if we've got any fees after July, but hopefully we do. So if we go to July 1st, click into this timesheet, I'll just quickly enable some rows. So first T and edit rows, add rows. I'll call it from 7 o'clock. Sorry. And I'll do 5 rows and 8 minutes apart. And then if we go to now, we also have to make sure we enable the rows for public because we're talking about public fees here. So we'll highlight all the rows, go edit rows, tick public member accepted and save it. And then when we go to fees, view daily fees, you can now see that 18-hole fee that we created before is showing as $50 because we're after the 1st of July. So that's a really good way to schedule your green fees to change without you having to go in and change them on the last day of the financial year. Now, the next thing we'll do is we'll show you how to exclude green fees from individual timesheets. So this could be useful if you've got a special event that you want to charge public players a little bit more for, or you might want to exclude golf carts for a day if it's too wet and carts can't go out. So rather than having to go into your fees and making the fee inactive, we can just make a fee inactive on a particular timesheet. So if we go back to the 29th of April, we might pretend that it's a very wet day today and we can't take carts on the course. So we would select fees, view daily fees to see what fees are available. Now, a lot of the times it'll show up like that. So if you can't see all the fees, just click on the arrow next to exclusions and you'll see all the green fees that are active for public fees. So if we decided that it was too wet for carts, all we have to do is just tick the fee that we want to make inactive. It might be that one as well. We've got a few cart options there, but we tick the one, you might only have one. And then when we scroll down a little bit lower, you'll see that underneath carts, those ones are not available. So carts will then not be available for public to book online, but also for administrators. So you can set up fees as an admin only fee. So if you want a cart to be an admin only fee, you can do that as well. So I'll show you how to do that. So this would mean that with these cart fees here, anyone booking online or your staff, the Pro Shop staff, would not be able to add a cart to a public booking. Now, if you decided that you still wanted to make a cart fee available for admin only, or even a general green fee, for example, you can go to fees, manage fees again, public fees, go down to carts. Now, in all these fees, they're all available for public, and I'll tell you the difference when we create the admin only one. So if we hit add fee, we can call it 18 holes admin only. We'll again change it to electric cart because we're creating a cart. Hit save. We'll leave every day selected and we'll put in $45. Well, we put in 50. So we might decide that if someone books online, they get a discount. And anyone who's coming to the course and booking in person, we're going to charge them a little bit more. So we've increased the cart price here to $50 because this is going to be an admin only fee, which only allows staff to book this fee. And the way that we do that is next to all the days, we've got a little admin only tick box here. So if we tick that and hit save, we'll see that when we go back to our fees, and we go down to carts, that fee now has a little head icon next to it. So that's to signify that this fee is admin only. So anyone booking online would only be able to see the fees that don't have a head icon next to it. But this fee here would only be available for staff to book who might be logged into the Pro Shop account and making bookings for the customer in person. So some clubs will do this if they want to encourage people to book online. So your 18-hole green fee, might be $45 to book online, and then you might charge them $50 if they book in person. So that's how you can create two fees that are effectively the same thing, but one being an admin only fee that your staff books and another fee that people can book online. Okay, now the next thing we'll talk about is allowing public to book into a locked timesheet. So some clubs may only open up social rows for public people to book into that they don't allow members to book into. And a lot of clubs will want public players to be able to book, up to a year in advance if it was a social group, for example. So you may not want to open up the timesheet because you still want to leave it locked for your members so that they can't go in and book so far in advance. Members may only be able to book in 2 weeks in advance. But if you're happy to allow public to book in, up to a year in advance, we can allow public to book into a locked timesheet. So what we would do is this timesheet here is locked. We would go into the timesheet. Now, in this example, we might pretend that these rows here are only for members because these times might be these times here might only be for members because they might be competition times. So I'm going to edit those rows and untick public member accepted. Okay, so members are not going to be able to book into them because the timesheet is locked. And then these times here, we might say that we'll open them for public because let's pretend that this is 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 2 o'clock and we're allowing social times to book in here. So we can edit these ones, untick member accepted, and we're just making these available for public. So if we save that. So in this example, we've got 2 rows for members, which might be members comp in the morning. And then we've got some rows in the afternoon, that might be for public people to book for social groups. So what we would do is we would select configure event, details and opening. Down the bottom here, we've got allow public to bypass lock status. So we would tick that and hit save. And basically what would happen is with this timesheet still being locked, public would now be able to book into this timesheet, but they'll only be able to book into the rows where the P is ticked. They'll not be able to book into the rows that's got M because these are only for members. And then under configure event details and opening, we can still schedule that timesheet to open up, 2 weeks out for our members. Let's pretend that's at 2 weeks before at 7 o'clock at night. So 2 weeks before, this would change from locked to open, allowing our members to book into those member rows, and public people would be able to book in up to a year in advance because we've allowed it through this option here. So that's really good to allow your public players, social groups, or even just general public to book into rows in advance of members. Now, a new feature that we've created recently is that when public users book online, they'll see all the green fees. And above that, there used to be a yellow text box that clubs could put information about, if the greens had been caught and you were offering a discounted rate, or if your golf carts were off because it was too wet on course. So when clubs used to want to have to make a change to that, they had to email support and we would have to go into the back end and type in whatever message they would want to appear. But there's now a new feature. So if we go to fees, public fees notice, basically you would type in any text in here that you want to appear for the public booking players online. So when a public user, this is the demo site, sorry, so it's a little bit hard to show what it would look like, but when a public user would book online, they would go to public bookings, and a lot of clubs would have a yellow notice above all the green fees. So whatever you type in here and hit save, that will show in that yellow notice. So it's now really easy for clubs to be able to go in and make those changes if they want to show that, green fees are cheaper due to cord greens, or that carts are not available if it's too wet. So that's a great new feature. Now, for customers that use Stripe, which is quite a large majority, or if you don't, we do set up a lot of clubs on Stripe as the payment merchant now. It's quite reliable. So with Stripe, there are some reports that you can run. So what we can do is, if we go to reports, we've got this Stripe reconciliation here. So this allows you to see what payments you're getting into your Stripe account, and it then goes into your bank account from there. So if we click on Stripe reconciliation, now this is the demo site, so there's not a lot in here, but if I change the date back to the 1st of April, hopefully some data will show up. So if I click reconcile, it then shows that we've got some bookings here. So if you're wanting to find this information in Stripe, you would log into Stripe, and you can use the authorization codes here to be able to match up bookings. You could also use the transaction date of what date it was booked and what time, and the authorization, and that will allow you to match up bookings, because in Stripe it won't list people's names for privacy reasons. So that's a really good report to be able to match up your payments from within the website to Stripe itself when you log into Stripe. Another advantage we've got with Stripe now is that if someone calls up and they can't make it because they'd already prepaid, but they've injured themselves, or they have to reschedule for some reason, you can now actually refund bookings directly from a timesheet without having to log into Stripe and refund them there. So you would click into the timesheet, you would highlight the bookings. So we could pretend this booking here, is already booked in and paid. They've called up and said they want a refund. So you can highlight it, click on refund all. So make sure you highlight both cells if you're refunding both. And then in the refund method here, if you've got vouchers module, you can, send them a voucher if you don't want to refund money directly back into their account. But you can also choose Stripe. So if you choose Stripe, and you can also do a full refund or a partial refund. So, if it's a partial refund, maybe only one of the players is cancelling and the other one wants to remain. So, you can partial refund 50% or a dollar amount. But on this example, we'll choose full refund. The reason, they might be wet weather, and the comments, you might put thunderstorm or something like that. And then you would click create Stripe refund. And what that will do is that will then refund the payment amount that they've paid back into their bank account that they paid from. So that's a lot quicker than having to log into Stripe and refund it out of the Stripe website. Oh, sorry, we've got some reports as well you can run for green fee payments. So if we go to reports and then custom reports, we can then go to financials, and there's usually a couple of reports you can run there for your green fees as well. So, if you're wanting to see how your payments are going, go into your financials. You can run it by payment date or by playing date. So the playing date, they might have booked on the 1st of March, but they're not playing till the 15th of March. So you can do it by the playing date if you want to see reports of when people are playing, or you can do it by the payment date. They might have made the payment on the 1st of March, so you can run it on that section there. Okay, I think that has sort of gone through most things in the public bookings. We do have the Q&A option, so if anyone wanted to ask any questions, please feel free to, in the Q&A, if you wanted to ask any questions. Yes, sorry. So yes, so when you are refunding, I'll go over that. So sorry, Ian. Yes, when you did want to free up the spot, I should have gone over that. So if we go back to bookings, good point. If we go into the timesheet and we highlight the spots and we choose refund all. Sorry, I should have covered that. So down, if we choose Stripe, full refund, down the bottom here, there's also the delete booking option. So if you tick them and you've chosen whether and you put in the reason, when you click create Stripe, it'll refund, but it'll also delete the booking at the same time, freeing up those spots for anyone else that might want to take that spot. Ben, we're not sure on that with the number of players. Yes, 40 players. The reason why we do have that limit is because if it was any more than that, it can break the database. I will come back to you on that. So I'll consult Mackenzie, who's head of support, and yeah, we'll come back to you on that. And sorry, Sandy, I'll just see if I can find out. So for your pending question.
I'm happy to answer
yes,
the one
please.
for Future Golf if you like.
Yes, please. Thank you, Chris.
Okay, a question from Warrigal, sort of Future Golf, how's this integration going with supporting clubs? So the Future Golf integration is available. That whole onboarding experience, you do need to contact Future Golf directly. They'll have their own commercial T's and C's and details around the integration, but you do need to contact them directly to instigate that process. But it is available. And yeah, I think you go to, I think it's Brenton Humphreys or Matt Stewart. You'll need to reach out to at Future Golf. Thank you.
I'll just check some of those Q&A, sorry, as well. So how can GolfLink details to be added to a booking that has been made online if players want to play in the comp? Yep, so good question there, Mario. With public players, they can't unfortunately be in competition. So what you would need to do for public players is move the public booking, the original booking, perhaps down to the bottom of the timesheet into maybe an inactive row or a row that you're not going to use. And then in the booking cell that they were originally in, you would click add visitor and book them in with their GolfLink number. That way they'll be able to use the MyScore app if they do have the MyScore app, and they'll also be able to be registered in the comp and scores uploaded to GolfLink. So currently public bookings cannot use the MyScore app and also can't be registered in competition. So yeah, if you do have any public bookings, please move the original booking somewhere that you've got free and then rebook with a visitor booking. And Sandy, with the reports, can you differentiate between green fees and cart fees? Yes, you can. I can't really show a live example there at the moment, sorry, but you can go in and there is tabs at the bottom of the report that allows you to see between green fees and equipment. So when you do your bookings, feel free to send an email as well, Sandy, to support@myclub.com.au, and I can send you some screenshots directly from your website to show what that looks like. Also, sorry, with the Stripe refund, and you've got a question about Stripe commission, we do have the option to pass on Stripe fees to the customer. So that's one thing I forgot to go through, sorry. When you're setting up your green fees, we can set up properties within the website that allows you to pass on those fees. I could be wrong, but I think it's somewhere around 1.75% plus 30 cents per transaction. So if your club is already passing on those fees, their green fee, I believe, would only refund the amount that they have actually paid. So I'll come back to you on how we would process that, but I don't know if you've got anything on that, Chris, with Stripe refunds, whether it will include the
no. So the refund is
paid.
less. The refund that you provide to the customer is less the transaction fee. So sorry, just to clarify, the Stripe fees are typically 60 cents a transaction and 1.7%. They did update the percentage about a year ago. But yeah, if you are doing a refund, then that fee being the 60 cents and 1.7% is, I guess, reduced from the refund amount. So the club still incurs the transaction fee. Thanks, Craig.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris. And also, Sandy, you had a question. Do public only show rows become available for members to book when the booking sheet opens to members? Yes, that's correct. So what you can do, I'll just go into that timesheet and show you how you can do that. So if you did want to allow members to be able to book into this row as well when the timesheet opens, you could highlight the row. You could go edit rows, edit rows. Now it's only got P tick there at the moment, but what you could do is when the timesheet opens, you could put allow to open to internet and kiosk. You might set that to 14 days as well, the same as the whole timesheet, and that might be 1900. So if you put allow to open to internet and kiosk 14 days out at 7 o'clock, that row, and then you would also make sure that members accepted is ticked, that row would be available for members to book into as well. So you can share rows between public and members, or if you've only got social times at one section of the timesheet and members at the top part, you can just manage them separately. But you can definitely share rows. I can call you on that to give you a bit more information on that as well, Sandy. And how do you reissue a voucher to a customer who purchased the booking with a voucher? So Christy, yeah, with a voucher, if someone has has a voucher and they can't play and they want to redeem, they basically want to issue another voucher, that's not possible. So you can only redeem the voucher once. But if you've booked in and then they've decided they can't play, the option would be is you'd have to move the booking to a spot that they want to replay. So you wouldn't be able to redeem it and then redeem it again if they decided they couldn't play with vouchers. Okay, so how can I mass book a non-member corporate group and enter them into a competition? Okay, so I think with a corporate group, because if they want to be in a competition for Metropolitan, each individual booking would have to have its own individual golf link number against that. So you wouldn't be able to use a group of 20 or 30 because all the bookings would probably be under one master booking in cell one, under whoever booked the group. So it might be, John Smith, and it might have his name showing 20 times. So again, you would need to move those bookings to an inactive rows. And then in each individual cell, you would need to book by clicking on the active MV. And if it's someone that doesn't have a golf link number, you could click on the temp GL. So I'll just show you that. So in this timesheet, I'll highlight this row for visitors as well. So this is a members row, but if we go edit rows, tick visitors allowed, and I'll put 4 and 4. And this is also good for anyone who wants to book visitors in for corporate groups or people that don't have golf link numbers and you want to assign a temporary golf link number. So we would click on the active MV, and if someone doesn't have a golf link number, you'd click temp GL. That will create a unique golf link number that ends in a different number each time. And then you would just put in their name. And if they're from overseas or if they don't have a handicap, you can just put in whatever handicap you want to give them. Hit add. And then we'll just go confirm booking. So that will now have a visitor booking, and that will allow you to book this person into a competition. So again, if it's a corporate group and you've got a book of 20 or 30, you'd have to move, if you've booked it all as one action, you'd have to move them all down somewhere so you don't lose that payment information. But then you'd have to book each individual person so that each person has their own golf link number against the booking so that they can be in the competition. Sandy, yep, that's fine. Yes, we'll give you a call and we can answer some of your questions there. And Ian from Hepburn, Ian Hepburn, you've asked, are we able to set online public bookings to be available if prepaid, only available if prepaid? Yes, you can. So what you can do is when you're in the timesheet, and now you can do this over all your timesheets. We would have to set that for you. We've got a section under payment methods, which we can apply to each timesheet on how you, which payment methods you allow, whether it's pay on arrival or online. But if it's an individual green fee and you want to do that yourself for a special event that you want people to have to prepay for, you could go to fees and you could go to payment methods. And you've got the option here for pay on arrival. So, if admin only is only able to choose pay on arrival at the moment, and then you've got credit cards. So on this particular timesheet, if we only wanted public to be able to book on credit card, well, the way that's set up at the moment, that's how it is, because public enabled is only available for credit card. For pay on arrival, it's off. And for the points, which is a different payment method some clubs might use, that's off as well. Same with members, if there's member fees, which is outside of public bookings. But if you have member payments for pro-ams or special tournaments, in this example, credit card or online is enabled for members. And then pay on arrival, points and credit card are all enabled for admin. So that's how you can control it within an individual timesheet. If you do know that all your timesheets are all going to be the same, we can set it for you under system payment methods. I don't believe this shows for clubs, but we can go in there and enable that for you as well.
Just Julie's question,
Julie,
Craig,
I'll
on the reciprocal member bookings.
Yes. So how can a reciprocal member book via public booking and get their discount? Okay, I'll have to come back to you on that, Julie. I'm not great with reciprocal booking setup, but I know that some clubs.
I can probably jump on that if that helps.
Yep. Thank you.
Yep. So Julie, a reciprocal member can't book via the public bookings path. With public bookings, they need to self-register. A reciprocal member typically would contact your club directly and effectively book as what I'm going to describe as a member's guest, but you can set up manage fee using manage fees and member fees to set up your different reciprocal categories. And then the, Pro Shop can book under those categories direct. So you wouldn't typically, a reciprocal member comes in a different path. They're not a public booking direct. They need to contact the club directly and then they make a booking via admin for them. Okay, I think that's the end of the questions, Craig.
Yeah, lovely. I'll just check on the Q&A if I've got any others. No, I think that's it. So, well, thank you everyone for attending. If you do have any follow-up questions, feel free to email support@miclub.com.au, or you can call us on the support number 08944 5300. Thank you.